Welcome to another episode of Simon Says, where facts come first. It's your host, Jenny Simon. And today we're going to delve in a little bit. Well, the carnival is over. We have to talk a little bit about the carnival, but we have issues to deal with as well because the carnival is over and we have to move on. So I'll take a quick break. And when I come back, we'll delve into today's program.
Mount Pure natural mineral water begins as rainfall, which percolates through the untouched rainforest and rocks of the Roll River Mountain. This natural filtration system protects the water from pollution, giving us a unique collection of minerals from the natural underground artesian aquifer. The water then flows naturally to the surface under pressure without pumping. As it reaches the surface, it is directly piped and bottled at our processing facility. We ensure that the water stays pure and safe so that it is ready for you to enjoy the excellent taste and natural health benefits. Not all water can make the grade when it comes to natural mineral water. Mount Pure offers a consistent composition and purity, so we can tell you exactly what you are drinking. Mount Pure guarantees you a perfect taste every time. Don't say water, say Mount Pure. Taste the difference. Enjoy the benefits.
Thank you for tuning in to Simon Says. To ensure that you never miss an episode, click subscribe and make sure to turn on the notifications by clicking on the notification bell icon. See you at the next episode. Welcome back. So today I would begin with Carnival, of course, and of course I'll deal with the Queen Show first. Sorry, last week we had that to deal with, but for reasons beyond our control, we were unable to bring you last week's version of Simon Says. Nonetheless, we're here today, and I would start off with the Carnival Queen Show. It's dear to my heart. And so it's over. Carnival is over. The Queen Show is over. It came and went on the 6th of August. And we have a lot to talk about when it comes to the Queen Show. Much like the administration, the parliamentarians and a lot of round pegs in square holes. And it was very obvious when it came to the Queen Show. People doing their own thing, as I said, round pegs in square holes, and just mediocrity. And with the Queen Show, after the resignation of the Miss Lloyd, who was the original chairperson of the Queen Show, it seems like nothing really happened when it came to either the chairing of the committee or the production, if there was one, because plenty people are asking, was the show produced? And if it was produced, it was very poorly done. I want to start off by congratulating the winner of the pageant, Miss St. David, Amoni Francis, the runners-up, first runner-up, Miss St. Andrew, Anika John, and second runner-up, Miss St. John, Shakira Taylor. Ladies, congratulations. But I also want to congratulate all of the girls for getting to this point. They all did their best, and in my opinion, they are all winners. They are all winners. Just give me a quick follow here. Let me get my app together. Yes. So I congratulate the entire team for getting to the point of majestic night, majestic evening. I want to especially commend Miss St. Patrick, Taninka Charles, for her amazing resilience and her unwavering courage. I don't know that I could have done it myself like she did. And from the get-go, she swam against the tide. I wouldn't get into details, but just trust me when I say, from the get-go, she swam against the tide. She met several obstacles. She got over them. She climbed the waves and eventually made it to the end. Even at that point, right on to the day of the pageant, this young lady was fighting and climbing over obstacles. And Taninka, I want to say to you, kudos, young lady. You did well, and I wish you well in whatever your endeavors are. And if you keep up that sort of resilience, you will do very well. You would succeed in your endeavors. Shakira, folks, had a knee injury some years ago. And you know, these cyber injuries, they don't really go away. They sleep for a while, and any set of vigor or so, they come back to haunt you. I was a netballer, I can tell you about that. And 2 weeks probably into our rehearsals, the knee started to act up. And she had issues. She had to use a knee brace for the most part. Some days she couldn't rehearse. She would have to just sit and look. Some days she couldn't make it to the rehearsals. But she never gave up as well. She fought and fought and fought. She couldn't practice in high heels, so to speak. She would have to use flats. And you know how important that is, or you may not know, but I'm telling you how important that is if you in rehearsals for a pageant. The evening of the semifinals, Calypso semifinals in Progress Park, she did her walk like all of the other girls did, and Shakira could not go down the stairs from the stage. An ambulance had to pick her up from there and take her to the hospital. This is a week before the show. And at one point, she was worried that she might have to do the entire show with her knee brace. But she managed. And that injury hindered her performances on the night of the show, especially with her costume. And I make no apologies when I say this. In my opinion, and in my judgment as a former judge, Shakira had the best costume crossing the stage. She was the only one that followed the criteria with the 5 feet above from the head and 5 feet across from each shoulder. And it was huge. And she couldn't really be in the festive mood, the carnival mood that she should have been in, because she was saving her knee. She still had other segments to take part in, and she wanted to finish the show. So she took it easy in the costume, which probably is 5 points, 10 points, the carnival mood. And she tried, and she did well. I'm not sure if her chaperones or if the chairperson of the committee then knew. Well, she would have known that she was taken from St. Andrew in an ambulance to the hospital. And why? So I'm not sure if that was relayed to the judges, which I think it should have been. And but as I said, in my opinion, she did well in the costume, and she should have gotten best costume. I know we all say, oh, the judge's decision is final. Yes, it's final. Nobody could take it back. But also, contestant don't have to win all categories to be the winner. And those of us who've been involved with Queen Show and following Queen Show for a long time, I think maybe more than 20 years ago, there was a young lady who won the pageant right there in Queen's Park and didn't win any category. And the people stone and the people quarrel and the people say, how could she win? And she didn't win any of the categories. But she can. There is something called consistency. And she could have come in a second in all of the categories, or even a third in there, when the other person who might have won one category didn't place at all or came very low down in other categories. So that is how someone could win without winning all of the categories or even some of the categories. You don't have to win a category to win the show. And that is important for us to note. So back to Shakira. Shakira, you're a boss. You're a boss. And you did it. No one knew. You walked the stage in the semifinals and no one knew the pain you were in. You still smiled and walked, and your poise was exceptional. It has always been. And for you to get to the top of the stairs, I couldn't go down and had to scream and was in tears, as I understand it. And an ambulance picking you up from there to the hospital. I give kudos to you. I give kudos to you. And so I must compliment some of these young ladies. Miss St. Andrew and her talent. Oh my God, exceptional, exceptional. Kudos to you, my dear. Kudos to you. It was amazing. I myself was in awe, looking at it, looking in from the pay-per-view. We were all amazed, those of us who were together looking at the show. And so I say kudos to you as well. And congratulations to all you girls for your performance. Miss St. Mark, Angel, in your swimwear, flawless, full of poise. Girl, I couldn't believe when I saw you. I mean, I always knew you had it, but in those swimwear, amazing. Amazing. I'll leave that one right there. Amazing. So, congratulations to you, all you guys. Amone, Miss St. David, again, I want to congratulate you on your win. You didn't need help up to win the show. Any one of you could have won that show on the night, because the final thing is the night. No matter who excelled in rehearsals, no matter who we thought the contenders were, the final moment on that night, it's when we know who the winner is. It's always been like that, right? Because nerves step in, and for some people, and some things go wrong in your talent, in your costume, and that's when you get the winner. So I want to say you're an amazing young lady. You're intelligent, you talented, full of poise. And so I congratulate you on your win, and I wish you, and I know you do Grenada proud wherever your endeavors take you throughout your reign, your reign from 2023 to 2024. Best of luck. But what I'm about to say and to speak about is in no way to diminish your win and your achievement on Majestic Night. But it is alleged that the chairperson or producer, I still wondered what she is, or if she was both, Miss Etienne, Neela Etienne. It is alleged that she was working with the Miss St. David team before she was asked to be the chairperson, and that ethically she should have declined. It is also alleged that she continued to work with Miss St. David throughout. And it was noticed by the contestants. Some of the contestants complained that there was bias towards Miss St. David. Something we made it, well, those of us, the NNP, the so-called NNP members that was on the group of us that started training the young ladies, that was something we made sure of, that no one contestant could see that we were biased to another. We made sure that they were treated equally. The girls were very cohesive and very friendly towards each other. And you hear from contestants that once Miss Etienne joined them, all of that went down the drain. So much so that these young ladies formed their own group, WhatsApp chat group, leaving out Miss St. David. Sadly so. Sadly so. Never happened. They had a group with all of them together. And they went and formed a separate group. And that is so sad. That alone tells what they were going through and what they observed, which they spoke to us about, what they observed during as the last 3 weeks when Miss Etienne joined them. And so the night of the show, when Miss Etienne was seen at the front of the stage, you know that section where only some special people can go, like people who taking part, who the ones with the big thing around their neck, and so the front of the stage. When Miss Etienne was seen there jumping high and celebrating when Miss St. David's Amani Francis was on the stage, it was clear to some people what was happening. She couldn't contain herself even then. Even then, when suspicions raised the night of the show that, and coming from board members, that they were worried and suspicious that Miss Etienne had given the question to Miss St. David's. The question was changed on the night. Now, the young ladies was given the topic that the question might come from. They all was given that topic. And they, so you read up on it, you studied it, and you get yourself prepared for the question. But there was suspicion. So the question itself that was supposed to come on the environment was changed on the night. As a matter of fact, minutes before the evening wear segment came on, where you do the question and answers. And you cannot blame the young lady, Miss St. David's Amani Francis. It's the adults in the room that does these things, this dishonest and unethical behavior that is so synonymous with the NDC. And people doing their own thing, everybody doing their own thing, and it's all over the place. It was clear on the night that the girls did not get that final belt tightening in the last 3 weeks, and they're smoothing off on the edges. And even on the night, they claim that they were never told that the judges were going to come backstage to judge them in their evening wear. And the judges showed up at the backstage, and only Miss St. David's was ready and stand up waiting for the judging. Now, these type of things just raise confusion and suspicion. And there was no need for that. To put her through this now that she has won the crown, there was no need to put her through this. Why? Why? It's just, they're like, some of these transformers, they're like a runaway train. Everybody doing their own thing, pecamel. And it's time we get the feel like we're dealing with adults, like we have governing our country responsible, competent people, and the ones that surround them, they're not just there because they're transformers. and that they suit the jobs that they're given, and that we get proper governments throughout a carnival, a queen show, and it has to involve the politics of the NDC and the NNP and who shouldn't be there. Or the advisor to Carnival, Mr. Cotsita Hall, who was asked by, I guess, the chairman of the board, I'm not sure who, because now you've hearing of where the minister, the line minister decided that he should not be in that position, he should not be around, and so don't give him anything to do. And they tried to get rid of him, but he signed a contract right up to August. And so he collected an advisor's salary throughout these months and had nothing to do. You all know, did you see Cook? And except for, I think, in one of the preliminaries, somebody told me he was collecting tickets. When I asked him, he said he asked them if he could help in any way, please. And they gave him the tickets to sell at the gate, and so he did that. This is what we have to go through, and this is why our product is diminishing instead of growing. And we're not seeing the success that are being talked about by these sales transformers. What is the measuring tape for the success? And it is from the head down. I just must play this clip. Is that this gentleman is a seasoned journalist. Most of you, the older ones, would know of him and his history with the NNP, which was very bad. And so he started off as a transformer, really, and not directly, but supporting and wanting to see proper development come, as he would probably say, as some people who are now very disappointed and are speaking out, very few, because most people, as we would say, balling with their mouths shut. But I want you to listen to this clip from Mr. Stanley Charles.
It's Stanley Charles. I speak to issues that is of concern to me. Well, you know, the big day is coming up at the weekend, emancipation, and we all indeed should perhaps reflect on the song or the books which talk about emancipation and how important that is. It's rather sad from my point of view. Here we have a government that supposedly should be leading the way in talking emancipation and doing it by economic policy and doing it by development goals. But these guys, they're a bunch of shit. They have appeared to have lost the script. They don't know what they're talking about. They did so much, promising that the other governments have failed after the PRG to pick up on the baton from the PRG in terms of value added, that we have, producing stuff here that we can, in terms of education for people across the board, and carried out most of the PRG's policies. They promised this. In war. The present Prime Minister held up his hand and said these things. But these guys are a bunch of shit. They can't manage. They're almost incompetent. The civil servants are running the ministries. They don't even know what is taking place. So, honestly, Prime Minister Deacon, it's not far from when people will ask that you step down as your leadership. Where is the lead? You're not leading. And I could name a series of blunders that will affect us, that you guys have made. You're invited to go, or you're not invited to go to Silicon Valley in terms of a country. We didn't go. Look at the people who went and how they managed this. It really is sad that we have young people in a country and they don't appear to understand why they got elected or the things they have to do. Your management is shit. You need to be able to manage. Learn to manage. I give you my thing, which is what I talk about all the time. GIS. How are you going to speak to your people if the thing is broken? Get your ass off and walk. You're getting paid to walk. Stop pissing about. Do what you have to do. If you're shit scared, then piss off. You need to understand this is a country. People's life is at stake. You be photo up. That can't help anybody. Speak the way I am, people in Labby, about you lot and how incompetent you are. You portray yourself as being incompetent. You may not be incompetent, you may just be cautious, but this is how you come over. I'm Stanley Charles. I'm pissed off with these piss artists.
I've been saying that from October 2022 right through till now. Those are, I didn't use those words, and I don't, some of these words I wouldn't use in public because, for fear my mother, you be saying, and speaking about fear my mother heard, hear me saying this. When I come, I want to talk about the Kiddies Carnival and the music played for these kids to dance in the street and to cross the stage at the stadium, right? I don't know if I could say this on air, but I think the song was being played on air, right? Pay for the kunkun? I don't know. If I think I can say it, but I would not let my mommy be saying that word. And so, the cat is wagging the tail, or the tail is wagging the cat? Which is it? Because those are not music you play for kids to dance to, especially these curious kids these days. And when they ask the others, what is that? And you tell them, what and when, why do we have to pay for it? How do we explain these things? Nothing wrong to play the song if that's a song, and it's played where adults are. I've just seen that it won the road march with a tie, with the farmer for the road march. I don't know how they judge the road march because I mostly heard from where I was sitting on my couch, songs from yesteryear and foreign songs. So that's what I mostly heard. I don't know how they managed. I don't know if they went throughout the island, I don't know how it was judged. And nobody seemed to be able to tell me how it was judged. You see, I just to go back to the Queen show, the Miss Photogenic is always judged by the photographer or photographers who went through the journey with the girls until Majestic Evening. The photographer said he was never asked. But Miss St. David's won Miss Photogenic. And nobody knows how. Who gave her that award when the photographer who's supposed to assign that award, he was never asked. This type of dishonest, crooked ways have to stop among you so-called adults in the room. It has to stop. Please. Or else we're going nowhere. We're going nowhere far. Already we are, but we need to slow it down and pull it back. We need to slow it down and pull it back, right? So I'll take a quick break and we'll continue the carnival when I get back.
Mount Pure natural mineral water begins as rainfall, which percolates through the untouched rainforest and rocks of the Roll River Mountain. This natural filtration system protects the water from pollution, giving us a unique collection of minerals from the natural underground artesian aquifer. The water then flows naturally to the surface under pressure without pumping. As it reaches the surface, it is directly piped and bottled at our processing facility. We ensure that the water stays pure and safe so that it is ready for you to enjoy the excellent taste and natural health benefits. Not all water can make the grade when it comes to natural mineral water. Mount Pure offers a consistent composition and purity, so we can tell you exactly what you are drinking. Mount Pure guarantees you a perfect taste every time. Don't say water, say Mount Pure. Taste the difference. Enjoy the benefits.
Welcome back to Simon Says, as I continue with the carnival. Well, I spoke about the Kiddies Carnival, and besides that fact, the late start and the late finishing. And this is not just this year. We have had complaints year after year about the Kiddies Carnival finishing really too late. And people all hours, and some people complain of getting home 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning with their kids from Kiddies Carnival, especially the ones in the outer parishes that have to get transportation to get home. So we have to, I don't know, year after year, but we just can't get the structure of this carnival right. We just can't get it right. And it's like no planning goes into it. And we know that carnival is in August, the second week in August, but we wait until July, in some cases, to start the heavy planning. We have a whole year to do so. We have a whole year to do so, to plan this thing and make sure the product is being improved. I've seen St. Lucia Carnival years ago and Barbados when I went to school in Barbados. And they use T-shirt and jeans in them times. Look at their product now today. Both countries, both islands. St. Lucia did T-shirt and jeans. Barbados and the crop over, T-shirt and jeans. Look at the product today. You have to learn from your mistakes. And don't get upset when people, because some of the transformers say, oh, it was a success and the best carnival ever. And then some of us say, oh, no, it wasn't. Oh, no, it wasn't. Because we have no judging anymore, no competition anymore between the bands. And when you look at the bands that competed, they're minuscule. They're diminished because their masqueraders have gone over to the string bands. And when I say string bands here, I'm not talking about the Caracou bands with the banjo. No, I'm talking about the bands with the masquerader that wears strings and feathers and beads and gems, right? And more power to the person who decides to wear it. I am not condemning the people who wearing it and who moved it back. What I'm saying is we've lost the bending of the wire and the making of the costumes, where we had king and queen of the bands, where we had sections of the band had their own queen or king. So you saw, splendor when on a Monday and a Tuesday, because then we didn't have Monday wear when you come out in swimwear. So when we had that, and year after year, you can see the improvement of the bands and the splendor that flooded the streets on the carnage. Before that, it was in the town of St. George. I can barely remember that. I was a kid then. We stood at the bottom of Market Hill to see the sailor band come down the hill and all of that. And on Juve morning, the jab came down the hill, glistening in the 4-day morning, the dust. And so when that has happened, we have nothing to judge. Yet for all, we have a stage in the Roy St. John's Field, on the Roy St. John's Field, and bands crossing the stage, running up on the stage, a full band, no section, and nobody describing, nobody saying which band it is, what are they wearing. Well, if you see the first band, you don't need to see the second and the third and the fourth. Really, it's a fact. And so that happened, and then the bands decide they're going around the roundabout, and by the Burns Point, I think we call that there, by the post office, the general post office, and up to Tantine. And the carnage is lined with vendors trying to make an extra $1 to send their kids back to school, to pay their bills, etc. They actually look forward to events like that. And the few spectators who lined the streets there on the carriage, waiting for the bands to come down, Monday evening, they complained that, of course, the Juve ended by 9:30, which I could understand what was being done or trying to get done, but it didn't, because that was the only thing that happened that was supposed to happen. The jabs were off the street by 9:30, but the rest of it, the bands, the Monday Mass was late, the Monday night Mass was late as usual. But the vendors who waited on the carriage and who mourned because they didn't make enough money Juve morning, and they were looking forward to Monday afternoon, and it never happened, and Monday night, and it never happened, really. So the question is, why did the SMC, and we can put up a flyer on the screen here, which gave the route. Eventually, I don't know how many people saw the flyer, but they have a flyer saying that part of the route is a carriage. And then you're hearing stories of the trailer trucks couldn't go because they can't turn on at the end of the carriage. We've been hearing that for years. But the trailer trucks are getting bigger and more. Each band have 2 and 3 now, trailer trucks, and huge trailer trucks. And we've been complaining about the trucks not being able to turn on the carriage. And as a matter of fact, I remember the real issue was when they turn and coming back against the oncoming band and the trucks meet. That was the real issue. So, understandably so, the trailer trucks along the carriage seemed to be a no-no. However, the SMC sold booths to the vendors, $400 a booth, the small booths, $400, and an extra $5 for a pass. I guess the thing around the neck to say they're allowed to vend. I don't understand why that couldn't be included in the $400, but they had to pay an extra $500 for the pass, $5, I'm sorry, $5 for the pass to get on the carriage. So they're standing there. And why did the SMC put in the route you just saw on the screen, the carriage as well? And one vendor told me when she called the SMC to find out what is going on, they said to her, it's not their fault, it's the police. The police don't want the trailers on the carriage. But during the planning stages, isn't the police involved? As a matter of fact, there's a policeman on the board, on the SMC board. And the police supposed to be in the planning stages for routes and where you can pass and where you can park and all of that. So how it is on the day of Carnival, the Monday, is that the police is saying one thing and the SMC is saying one. It doesn't sound right. It sounds as a couple to me. And so it was just a hot mess. As I said to the vendor, even Tuesday, it turned out to be a hot mess because the bands were late. Granted, the rain got blamed this time around. And they came down, they started coming down, let's say, at least the smaller bands, the Helen Marie, the Comancheros, the Sailor bands, they came down nice and smooth. It was small, it's cute. And so, by the time the bigger bands, the string bands started coming, and it got dark, and the streets were thick all by the Otways gas station there that way, coming down to the Tropicana. You didn't know who were masqueraders, who were onlookers, who were, well, I don't know if they had marshals. I know some of the bands had their own marshals, but SMC needs to have marshals. They had at one point years ago, I don't know where they disappeared to, but they need to have their own marshals to help with the spectators, getting the spectators off the street. So when I said to her, it was a hot mess, she said, you mean a diarrhea? This is a vendor, because she was on it. She got her money, she put together, buy her meat, her chicken, and so to barbecue, to fry, her drinks. And even on Tuesday, when some of the bands eventually at around 7 o'clock went along the carnage, lots of people had already gone home with their kids. It was looking like a rainy evening. And after standing there for so long and seeing nothing much, they still didn't get anything much sold, because people would have spent their money higher up and nothing was happening on the carnage. And so they spent, if they made back their money, they paid for the booth, they did well. They did not even make back their money for the front. They paid for the booth. And so this is not nice. This is not nice. No. So something has to be done to help out these vendors who've been on the carnage. I would ask for a refund of their monies for them. And let's plan from now. Let's plan from now for next year. However, not all transformers know about carnival and the running and the producing of shows, the different events. And thank God again for the commercial events that saved Carnival 2023. If it wasn't for the commercial events that most of the foreigners, the visitors attended and went to the cruises, I mean, the cruise, they had 2 and 3 and 4 boats and ferries leaving the carnage every day. Up to this morning, they always have this last lap one, right? So thank God that made the carnival. Some people enjoyed these events and they could say they had a good carnival. There were loads of visitors, which is good for the economy. I want to commend the Ministry of the Tourism Authority and so for their marketing and so we have all these and extra flights they got to put on to bring it. It would help with the economic situation in Grenada at the moment. And so congratulations to all the people involved in getting the visitors come. But we have to have something to keep the visitors. Because if they come and all they spend their money, yes, to go to the fets and so, but the actual product is diminishing, then you might find some people saying, nah, I'll go to crop over in Barbados. We have lots, and as a matter of fact, ours is the last. We have Antigua, St. Kitts, St. Vincent, St. Lucia, and Barbados carnivals coming before ours. So we have to be careful that we don't lose these people. And thank God for the jab jab. The jab jab is a big part of the marketing. They love to come and play the jab jab. So let's get some semblance of order with that. I mean, after 8 in the morning, the first jab jab band crossed the carnage, and they only would have had less than an hour if everything went as planned to get off the street, which means most of the other bands didn't come down. I wasn't able to stay and look at all of the bands, but I saw that one which was after 8. As a matter of fact, I heard one of the media personnel telling the Minister for Culture and his colleague, the Minister for Carriacou and Petit Martinique, telling them that they only have like about 20 minutes left when they were saying things now stop. And forgetting that they themselves were the ones who put it in place that the bands should leave the carnage by 9 o'clock. So we conflicting reports there, you know. So the carnival could be a much better product. I'm not blaming this particular government or administration or SMC because it has been dwindling for a while. But if nobody is planning enough and putting structures in place enough to pull it back, we're going to continue to go down that slippery slope and we're going to lose that product. It is one of the major products. It's not the main product of economic development for the country. So please, we're begging. And don't get all upset about the criticisms and the constructive criticism. And don't, because I saw some transformers saying the crowd is back in the stadium for Soca Monarch. Yes, the crowd is back in the stadium because the big boys came back to the stadium for Soca Monarch. The Boysies and the Dash, and they came back. They did not attend the last time, and the crowd dwindled. They came back, and of course, the social media coverage on the competition, although they did not quite live up to that hype, that brought the crowd back to the stadium. Okay, so let's not get upset because Simon says we need a lot. We need to go back to the drawing board and do a lot. A lot. It's not just a little bit. We have a lot to do to save our carnival product. And stop singing to the choir and stop listening to your own choir when you say it was a great success. Because we had a lot of people, yeah. If that is what you measure success by, all power to you. But it wasn't. It wasn't. And I could go into it a lot more. But, of course, time constraints. So I'll take a quick break and come right back. Thank you for tuning in to Simon Says. To ensure that you never miss an episode, click subscribe and make sure to turn on the notifications by clicking on the notification bell icon. See you at the next episode. Welcome back to Simon Says. And as I said at the beginning, when the carnival is over, we still have a country to run. We still have a country to manage. People still need to eat and survive. And so I want to deal with something I brought up at my last episode. Briefly, I spoke about the forcing out of some people from their jobs. And I want to talk today about Miss Fields, Miss Shirla Harris Fields, who was the managing director of the Stadium Authority for a number of years. And on the 28th of July, the evening of the 20th of afternoon, at 4 p.m., of the 28th of July. So that would have been at the close of day and the close of month of July. And she was asked to resign from her job or be terminated. She was given a choice. And the message was delivered to her by the chairman of the board and the deputy chairman of the board. The chairman of the board being Miss Monique Noel, who herself was a managing director of the Stadium Authority some years ago, and Mr. Randall Robinson, who is the deputy chairman, came to her office and gave her the ultimatum. They said the board has lost confidence in her, whatever that means. The board has not yet been there a year, probably about 8 months, I think, and they have lost confidence in her, and they asked her to resign. Now, Miss Fields, is not someone that get involved in politics. Her dad maybe, but not her, right? But even if you Miss Fields is perceived NNP, Miss Fields have to eat. Mr. Robinson has a job. He is the general manager of the Postal Corporation. Although we're hearing that now they have to get someone to hold him up there. that they have now employed a deputy general manager. I'll come to that next week in details. But you take bread out of someone's mouth. For what? Because they're perceived NNP? That is vindictiveness. That is high-class vindictiveness. So she resigned with immediate effect because I guess they give another chance to not have termination or fired on her resume when she applied for a next job. So she took it and she resigned with immediate effect. Not, as she said to me, not being able to say goodbye to her staff, really. And she just had to walk away. She was shuffled out of her job. And when you think by now this thing is getting better, it's not. It was said that even by now, the chairman, well, I'd say former chairman, she's already taking care of the operations of the stadium as the GM. Now maybe she is hanging in there as the chairman until they get their new person. But in the first place, how do you put a former GM of the stadium authority 15 years ago as the now chairman of the board? It's obvious. She wants the position. That's the position she'd prefer. Right, the GM. Chairman of the board, you get in a stipend every meeting or something like that. Right? But then we see this thing, this reoccurrence, this recycling of persons from 15 years ago, the 2008 NDC. Just the recycling. 15 years ago, we have the chairman of the Cultural Foundation, Mr. Chris D. Riggs. He's chairman of the Cultural Foundation. He's a stakeholder, conflict of interest, because he owns and manages one of the oldest theater companies on the island. He's a stakeholder. We have the CEO of the Cultural Foundation, Mr. Livingston Nelson. 15 years ago, he held that position. We can't find nobody else more than to dust them off, dust the cobweb, and hang them back up. We can't find even younger transformers. I ain't saying anybody, because transformers had to get the first choice, whether they could do the job or not. But we can't find younger transformers to fill the space. He himself, Mr. Nelson, is a stakeholder as well. Another conflict of interest. He manages and owns the Tivoli Drummers, another company, creative company, that had gone dormant for a while. Now it's up and running again. We begging, stop the victimization. Stop the vindictiveness that comes with this administration. It is the worst that we have seen with any administration here on this island. The Lottery Authority, the gentleman that's chairing the board, he chaired the board 15 years ago when NDC was in office. He was removed by the former Prime Minister Tillman Thomas before his contract was up, his first contract was up. It was alleged, what's the word? It slipped me here right now. But he was removed, right? He's back now. as chairman of the board. And allegedly so bullying, fraudulent behavior. That is what it was. He was removed for fraudulent behavior. Alleged fraudulent behavior because, you know how that goes, I have to say alleged, even though he was removed. And so he's back now in the same position. He had distanced himself from NDC. He said lots of stuff about NDC, but I guess that was the Tillman NDC. Nope, he's back. It's the Deacon NDC, and he's back in the same position, bullying his staff and the staff of the Lotto Authority. And because this one is just a little bit mark on it, as I was told, and allegedly so again, he being the chairman and the general manager or CEO of the Lotto is in a relationship, so to speak. And I'm told time will tell in 9 months. What is that? We don't have no professionalism, no ethical behavior. No, what is this? What anybody do with anything, everything? It is just a Pecamel situation that's happening here. But as I say, time will tell. Folks, this is a wrap of Simon Says for this episode. It's been great conversing with you. As usual, keeping them honest. Thank you for joining Simon Says again. See you next week, same time, same place. Bye. Thank you for tuning in to Simon Says. To ensure that you never miss an episode, click subscribe and make sure to turn on the notifications by clicking on the notification bell icon. See you at the next episode.